What's going on, YouTube? So let me take care of this real quick. So I just want to make a quick video. We're going to talk about the Uber IPO that comes out today. The prices are out. It should start trading like as of right now. I expect to see some trade action when I go to the screen. I'm going to share with you my screen in a second. But hey, first, before we get started, if you're thinking about becoming a driver, go ahead and use my link in the description below. You're going to get a huge sign-on bonus. Plus, I'm going to give you a free dash cam when you sign up using my link. All right. So let's check out the video talking about the Uber IPO. So bear with me. I'm gonna bring my screen up here. Bam. All right, guys. So let's. All right, I'll go up here all the way. Oh, I got to float on top. Sorry. Float on top. All right. So let's get to the top. So Uber's debut will be today, 82 billion. Uber's market debut to be the biggest in 5 years. Okay, and this is coming from NPR Radio. The ride-hailing company Uber is making its stock market debut on Friday with the shares priced at $45, the lower end of the possible range, and a total market value of 82 billion. That $45 is a lot less than what Lyft was doing. What they came out with at $72 per share. It quickly jumped up to $84 per share, but then has since dropped down to it hit $50 today, and I expect it to go even lower now that Uber's coming out at $45. This is the thing you have to worry about with the IPOs, and this is like the caveat for the Uber stock. All right, if you're gonna buy it today, you look for a quick gain, and then you get out and you pull out because it's gonna fluctuate. All right, neither company, neither Lyft nor Uber, has shown a profit. All right, they're spending millions to billions of dollars in growth and research, just trying to expand their brand. All right, so they're just not making any money, and you're going to find out a little bit more here today. So my thing about the stock price is look at Lyft. Lyft crashed. Okay, it's going to go down it's probably going to get down to $35. Watch, I bet you it drops down 50% of its initial IPO. IPO is initial public offering, so the first day that they offered stock to the general public. It started out at 72. We will see it at 36. That's my guess. All right. I've done a lot of trading in stocks. I almost want to guarantee it. I can't guarantee it, but mark my words, it will hit $36. All right. So let's move on. Just be careful of the Uber stock price. Okay. So they're going to do $45. It's valued about $82 billion. All right, that's a relatively conservative approach for the initial public offering. A few months ago, analysts were expecting the Uber's IPO to be far bigger than this. A $100 billion valuation was seen as reasonable. Some even floated $120 billion. But it's a rough week for the stock market, which is watching President Trump's rhetoric on trade with concern. All right, so Trump just put a big tariff on China on their goods coming into the country. It went from 10% to 25%. So that's a huge deal that really affected stock prices today. Today is May 10th, by the way. And Uber's smaller ride-hailing rival Lyft saw its stock values plummet after ambitiously priced IPO last month. Uber, which has never turned a profit, expects to raise $8.1 billion in the IPO. Sorry. Let me just scroll up here. In the IPO. So Uber has expanded dramatically since its founding a decade ago in user base, in geographic scope, and in ambition. Once focused on helping wealthy users hail private limos as an alternative to taxis, Uber embraced a peer-to-peer model where almost anyone could become a driver. Like Lyft, it began offering carpooling options where you share a ride with a stranger. As Lyft focused on ride-hailing in the U.S., Uber took another path, expanding its global footprint and diversifying its services, offering food delivery, freight shipping, and electric bike rentals. Okay, we've all seen the food delivery. We've seen Uber Eats. We know what that's about. Freight shipping. So yes, they are getting into 18-wheelers, the big tractor trailers, freight shipping, okay? There's even, I talked to a company or a couple of guys here in Boston when I was driving them to work one day, and they were talking about what they're doing. They're trying to do something similar to what Uber's doing it with construction vehicles. Mainly dump trucks that have to go to gravel yards or cement trucks, putting them on call, just developing a better system for them to be able to get work, make wages faster with their vehicles. And electric bike rentals. We've all seen them everywhere. Lime bike, blue bike, whatever other bike they're coming up with. Pretty soon it'll be Uber bike, Lyft bike, pink bike. I don't know, whatever it may be. But they're all trying to get into this arena where it's just basically all runs off an app. These are things that people need. They need to get around. They need transportation, and these technology companies, right? They're not transportation companies. They're technology companies. Okay, they're all getting into this. Okay. So let's read on a little further. But all that growth was expensive. Uber, like Lyft, has never made a profit. Instead, the company has burned through prodigious quantities of venture capital as it slashes prices to compete with rivals and invest any earnings into expansions. Right. So everybody's trying to get into space. They see the potential for profits, and they're all trying to get there. They're trying to be leaders in the market. All right. Let's keep reading. In a second here, I'm going to check out the Uber IPO. I know it opened up at 45. I haven't seen any trading action on it, but it is there. Excuse me while I plug in my computer. I see it dying here. Plenty of investors seeing big profits in Uber's future in the long term. These profits depend on Uber outlasting rivals, raising rates, and cutting costs. Cutting costs, raising rates. So now what they're talking about is the riders paying more and the drivers getting less. All right, that's where the costs come in. Investors point to the company's massive size and the tremendous potential markets for its many services, ordering takeout, receiving packages, even getting groceries delivered. I just thought of something with the cost to acquisition that they have for new drivers. In Boston, they're paying referrals for new drivers, $500. I know in LA it was $700. So think about that that's their cost for acquisition. I mean, in some places like New Orleans, I think I saw like a $25 referral bonus, and other places are like $50. So think about that, right? They're getting new drivers for as low as $25, $50. Even if they pay, the highest one I've seen is $700. That's nothing to have someone do all the rides. You know what I mean? That driver is going to it's going to bring them $7,000 easy. They want to be able to touch consumers across all aspects of how they utilize transportation, says Igal Aronian. Sorry, I don't know how to say that name. An equity analyst at Wedbush Securities. And ambitious vehicles and autonomous vehicles, if they begin to replace drivers, right? So keep in mind, for all you drivers out there, this is the future. You will not have a job driving. Okay, you have to start thinking about that, and you have to start putting money away, because I know Tesla is planning on unrolling a fleet of autonomous vehicles next year. But the thing about those vehicles is that they will be, you can purchase those vehicles, and then you can put it to work via the Tesla network. So Tesla is going to be competing in the rideshare industry. But you can buy a vehicle that's going to be driverless, and then you can put it to work. So keep that in mind. If you want to become a driver, or if you want to stay a driver and you want to stay in the rideshare industry, start putting money away so you can buy a Tesla or an autonomous vehicle that you can put on the road and start helping you make money. All the money raised through this IPO will help Uber chase that vision. But there is major obstacles too. While the technology behind autonomous or self-driving cars has come a long way, the cars are nowhere near ready for widespread human-free deployment. And after a self-driving Uber hit and killed a pedestrian last year, Uber's own tests have slowed down. Meanwhile, the autos that aren't autonomous ruling the roads, Uber relies on its community of drivers for its business model to work. And many drivers aren't happy, aka the strike, right? We all know about the strike. And on Wednesday, groups held strikes and protests in cities in the United States, United Kingdom, and Australia to push for higher pay and better working conditions. Here's where it gets interesting. All right, so Nabia Nusrat, who drives for Uber in New York, told NPR she was striking to protest the meager amount of money that drivers make from the overall fares. We all know about this, right? It's anybody that drives knows that it really just feels like it's not enough, like they're stealing from us. Kind of like the big fish making all the money, she said. I'm at the bottom of the chain, so I'm getting pressed. In Los Angeles, James Hicks said that both Uber and Lyft have been reducing drivers' take-home pay. Uber recently cut per mile rates in Los Angeles by 25%. It's a huge cut. Uber and Lyft have been stealing from their drivers almost since the beginning of introducing their respective businesses, Hicks said Wednesday. Drivers' protests have seen some gains. New York City passed a minimum pay requirement for drivers who work on ride-hailing platforms. A California court ruling found that drivers currently treated as independent contractors might be employees entitled to benefits. All right, so we might be employees entitled to benefits right here. So that's an interesting. That is an interesting. That's an interesting concept right there. Might be employees entitled to benefits. Sorry, I just got a notification from Uber. They have a video that they just sent out. Looks like to celebrate their IPO. Anyways, back to the article. Sorry, guys. At a protest outside Uber's company headquarters in San Francisco on Wednesday, Mustafa Maklad said he feels emboldened by those successes. He's been driving for Uber for 4 years, but this is his first protest for a living wage. There have been several attempts before, but every time when people organize against Uber, Uber has always been managing to shut it down or kill it, he said. Now, if they're not going to reach out to us, the law will force them to. Uber's brand has been dinged by more than driver complaints. The company continues to cope with the fallout of years of bad behavior and a toxic corporate culture, everything from illegal business practices to reports of sexual harassment. Then there's the question of regulation and how a rising tide of populism might affect Uber's agenda. The company aspires to become a monopoly in transportation using Wall Street money to overcome rivals. At the same time, several progressive Democratic candidates running in the 2020 election are either calling for or considering moves to break up big tech giants. New legislation in the direction could threaten Uber's growth goals. But many analysts who are optimistic about Uber's future take comfort in the example set by another tech giant, Facebook. Its practices have violated user privacy and raised alarms over monopoly power. But after CEO Mark Zuckerberg said he expected to pay a multi-billion-dollar fine to regulators, Facebook stock jumped more than 7%, indicating that investors believe the fine is not a real threat to Facebook's future. Uber's history, too, suggests that the company won't see its path blocked anytime soon. The company grew as big as it did by openly ignoring municipal laws for taxi cabs. Such rule breaking has been essential to Uber's business model, said Matt Stoller, a fellow at the Open Markets Institute. That's an interesting article. I like this one. The company grew as big as it did by openly ignoring municipal laws for taxi cabs. They got into cities, they got a bunch of customers, and then they got those customers to lobby their city council to change the law. In the next phase, Stoller predicts Uber could try to bypass antitrust laws. Well, damn. All right, so that's it for that one, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to this article. I found it very interesting. That's why I wanted to share it. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and let's just see if the stock's doing anything. So it's open now. It's open at $45. I think you might want to start looking into purchasing this. I'm just going to give it a quick refresh and see if we've seen any price changes here. So nothing yet. That's as of 5/10/2019, 11:49 a.m. So $45, guys. That's what it's opening up at. All right. Stay tuned for changes as the day goes on. Pay attention. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you next time.